I've got a question to ask you. And don't tell your friends. It's just between me and you. Think back to the last time you took a vacation, right? There was something that probably went wrong. Something you wish you would have done better and probably are thinking, I'm never doing that again. Today, I'm going to bring you into my little travel world and share with you some tips that I personally use and hopefully will help you avoid the last mistake you did in your last trip. So without further ado, my first tip, organizing your travel. My suggestion is start with all the ideas that you or your group have. You should write them down. Brainstorm foods you want to try, things you want to do, activities you want to pay for, if you want a guide, if not, but write every single one down. And then once you have it all down, you or your group have kind of chosen exactly what you want to do, have that list cemented down, crossed out, whatever. I want you to pull out something. I want you to pull out a calendar. Okay, this is going to be the game changer that I wish I knew. You can pull out a calendar, a note app, or I've been using TripAdvisor's free itinerary planner, and it is so amazing and helpful. Not sponsored at all, but it was so nice to use this resource because I got to keep organized with everything I wanted to do. And this is exactly what this plan is for. You need to have something you're gonna write down, these things you wanna do, and it has to be something with dates. So mark everything you want to do and put it day by day. If you want to go to a museum, put the day you want to go to the museum. If you want to just leave some space for spontaneity, block out some hours to leave some space for spontaneity. And even if you just don't know when you want to be spontaneous, at least putting the things that you want to do down on a calendar and seeing what days you're going to accomplish it allows you to see the time you have free, to explore, try something new, or go off the beaten track. The best part about keeping it digitally and putting it someplace is that you get to share it with everyone. Not only do you get to keep a record of what you're doing for yourself, but if you're going with a group, girl group, spring break, whatever else, one thing that can trip and ruin a trip is a lack of communication. So after you put those things down on a calendar, I want you to take a step back. Look at the calendar and think to yourself, does this make sense? Are these things actually feasible? Are they feasible economically? Are they feasible mentally? Are they feasible physically? Are there bathrooms around the places I want to go? Are the places close to one another? What does the commute look like? How long will it take to walk from here to here? Okay, tip number 2. Okay, for this tip, I'm calling it scour and reviews. Have you ever thought to look at reviews for your airport? Or if you're going to a place like Italy and taking trains, have you ever thought about reading and possibly looking up a downloadable map of the place? And to even read the official website to see if there's things that you need to bring before you even go. It's really key to learn from other people's experience, to see what they have to say about the place. I'm always looking for reviews, but one thing that changed the game is looking at reviews of airports. It really helps to know whether they are slow, fast, or if there's something specific you need to do. Aside from transit areas, I love reading reviews for restaurants, and so when I'm on Google, I will filter out a restaurant for most relevant, because that's usually what comes up first, and then newest to see if the quality is still good. When I read blogs about restaurant recommendations or YouTube videos, I go and I cross-check them with the current reviews. I do not want to step into a place, sit down, and have a plate of bad food. That is not what I am there for. And then as far as activities, another part of TripAdvisor I can recommend is their forum part, which I just found out about, but it's so helpful, especially if you have questions about something really nitty gritty, because there are people who've gone before you that have the experience and can help you answer those questions. Reading reviews and also researching the activity thoroughly helps me a lot when finding the best deals. So my tip also for activities is that I would go on multiple different platforms looking up the same activity. Like let's say parasailing, for example. Well, I don't know how to tread water, so let's do food. Let's say a mezcal experience in Mexico, and I look it up on Airbnb, but when I go to TripAdvisor, or even now I use Get Your Guide, there might be something that's similar at different price ranges. So I would shop around, read reviews if the same kind of activity is on there, read the reviews on every single platform, and then make your best choice. But it pays to do your research and shop around. Okay, so tip number 3. And I don't know where I got this or learned this from, but offline maps. So important, especially if you're on a short-term trip. Don't want to go through getting a eSIM or even putting the SIM in your card or anything like that. Before you step on that plane, download the offline map of where you're going, okay? Especially if you are keen on relying on Wi-Fi. But if you're going out to do an activity, you're not gonna know where to go. I use Google Maps because I find it better than Apple Maps internationally. And after researching the spots I want to visit, I will save it and a little blue marker pops up. That way I can navigate without needing data. And this has saved me so many times. So download your offline map, people. Even if you plan on just staying at the hotel, you never know it can happen. And it's so easy and it's very worthwhile just to have an understanding of your surroundings. So download the offline map, okay? And just to take a moment, if you like anything that I'm saying right now, if you are getting something valuable or some tip is helping you out, I really recommend subscribing. It really helps me out to make content, and I would love if you got to receive some more joy. Back to the scheduled program. Okay, so my fourth tip is cultural etiquette. And you're probably already doing this if you're traveling because you're probably already excited, but definitely do your homework before you step on that plane. I suggest looking up religion, cultural customs, the norms, blogs, any local things that you should know that are important to your destination. And let me tell you, you could do all the homework, but then the test comes. And the test comes when your foot steps off that plane onto the land, okay? So you can do all the homework you want, but it is definitely different once you get on that land. Although the homework will be there as a guide, it really comes in with learning once you get to your destination. And one thing I learned is to listen and look more than you are speaking and talking. If I'm in an unfamiliar place like a restaurant or store, I'm kind of introverted, so sometimes I don't like to ask for help, but one thing I will do after I say a little prayer, God, please help me, I will just look. I'll look at what people are doing, especially in grocery stores. I'll look to see, I'll let them go first and then follow their lead, because you learn by experience, and you do learn by getting things wrong, but the learning definitely comes once you're at a destination. But if all else fails, asking for help is definitely the way to go. Do not suffer in silence. It's just not worth it. Maybe a 1-minute awkward conversation can save you a whole 10 minutes of pain, okay? So one thing I've done is I'll just politely ask in English. If I learned a couple of phrases in the local language, I'll use those. Maybe a simple pardon, or just a smile, or some weird hand gestures if we're really not able to communicate. And so if English isn't widely spoken in the area that you're in, I suggest learning these couple of phrases. Some type of greetings, a hello or a goodbye. Do you speak English in the local language? I don't speak fill in the blank. Can you help me? It's also super important to understand dining and dress etiquette. And I'm not going to touch much on that here because you kind of get it, but definitely do your research and it'll pay you off well. Okay, so one tip is how to stay healthy on the road. This is my number 5 tip. Health is important whenever, not just when you're traveling, but especially when you're traveling. It's important to know what to eat, how to eat, and if what you're putting in your body is good for your body. When I travel, I love to eat the local food. And sometimes I love it so much that I start turning into local food. Because I ate so many baguettes in Paris, I'm pretty sure the top of my head, by the time I got on that plane, was pointy, okay? Just like a baguette. I know, I started looking like a baguette. To keep this tip short but practical, go in with a plan. One thing I like to do is I write down or have a certain idea or this kind of list of meals that I want to try. Meals that I cannot leave without trying. And if they're rich in calories or just not the best for you, space it out so that you're not overloading your body in just one day. A game changer for me is I like to research menus so that I can make the best choice for myself without the pressure of sitting at a table and having a waiter or a waitress saying, "Are you ready yet?" Researching the menus and looking at the menu a day before I go, an hour before I go, helps me make the best choice for my body and know, okay, this one's gonna be good. And then at the end of it all, balance is the key in everything. You can have a rich meal and just balance it out with moving your body so that your body is treated well even after you had something rich. Personally, I like to do a lot of walking. If I am eating a lot, it helps with digestion, it helps with mood, and it really just helps you settle down before you put something else in your mouth. But aside from that, if that doesn't relate to you, then I try to get a workout in at the accommodation. Maybe it's swimming if it's someplace tropical. Maybe it's going to the gym at the hotel, or just doing a workout on the TV in the Airbnb, but just having your body move to counteract and just balance everything that you're putting in. It's really good for you. And so it's all about balance. It would be a shame to leave without trying everything you wanted to try just for the sake of restriction. But at the same time, it would be such a bummer to also treat your body really badly while on vacation. It takes a lot more effort to undo some unhealthy actions that was crammed into maybe 2 weeks of vacation, rather than to take a couple of good, small, mindful steps towards your eating while you're on vacation. And it could just be small, just like walking after a meal, or just keeping it light on the sugary drinks or the alcohol. Just something that's better for your body, just a mindful step in that way. Safety tips. Now, I live in New York, so keeping your head on a swivel is non-negotiable, and it comes with the territory. But one thing I will always do is I try to research tourist scams. I will just put fill in the blank scams, fill in the blank tourist scams, fill in the blank things you need to know. It's really important to know how safe your destination is. And truly, things are painted in different pictures by different lenses. But definitely be aware. Don't buy in the fear-mongering, but be cautious and aware of your surroundings. What I wish I knew, especially when I traveled to Jamaica, which was my first international trip, is there are going to be some aggressive sellers, and I wish I knew which spots they were in. I would have felt less overwhelmed and would have had more confidence to deal with situations better. And so I recommend looking up the hot spots where sellers try to cater to tourists, or rather not cater, but try to get some cash, Just research so you stay informed. So if you do enter one of these zones, you're not taken off guard and it ruined part of your day. And so my last important tip is this. You can do everything right. Everything I've said in this video and so much more, all the information that you've watched compiled for months, years on this beautiful trip, and you can still encounter danger. You can still die. You can still get into some type of situation that you never thought you would. And so my last tip is to pray. So personally, before I travel, I always pray. I'm praying when I'm booking the tickets, I'm praying when I'm booking the accommodation, I'm praying weeks, months out before I go on a trip, and I'm praying about specific things. I'm praying about the people around me, the person sitting next to me on the plane, just everything. I'm praying about my health being kept. I'm praying about the food being purified before me. I'm praying about all the interactions I have with the people from the airport, from the cab driver taking me to the airport, to the hotel staff and everything else. If you are a Christian, let other people know that you are traveling so that they can pray for you too. You're not in control of that plane, that new dish you want to try, that driver. Everything is in God's hands. Nothing is truly in your control, no matter how much you think it is or want to try. God, ultimately, whether you believe in him or not, is the one who keeps you safe. And so I've attached a prayer based on a Psalm. And if you need some place to start with a prayer on traveling, I recommend looking at it in the description box or downloading it below to keep it with you everywhere. And I just highly suggest that you take moments when you're planning, before you go, to really seriously dedicate some time to praying about your trip. It's crazy times right now, and you never know what could happen. But that's what's so beautiful about God, is that he's always taking care of us and watching over us. And so if you've had a successful vacation and never thanked him for it, it was him who guided everything and allowed everything to work out for your good. So start thanking him today. And if you're not Christian, you don't just have to thank him, you should talk to him, because there's a person who loves you more than anyone, anything, and his name is Jesus, and he knows you, loves you, and wants you to truly know that. And it's more than just a vacation. He offers you eternal life by what he did for you, which is going to the cross, looking like me and you, dying, and then he came out victorious and rose. He came into this world, gave his life, lived a perfect life for me and you. So If you're praying about your travels, I definitely suggest praying first to get to know this Jesus, because he knows everything about you and knows whatever trip you're about to go on. And so with that being said, my friends, I hope you guys stay safe, and I hope you enjoy the next trip that you're going on. I hope that whatever I shared resonates, even if it was a sentence or two, but I hope that you guys have beautiful travels in your future. Until then, I hope you can plan your next adventure with some more confidence and much more joy. If you like this, subscribe for so much more content. I've got so much more coming.